Hey there, happy Wednesday. I'm Julie Yao Tam, partner and broker at Lynn Realty, a brokerage representing generations of clients in the greater Houston area and from around the world since 1981. This is my video series, Smarter Real Estate, where I offer helpful tips to buyers, sellers, tenants, and landlords, and take you along for some of my day-to-day real estate adventures. These videos are done in one take and are not edited. And today we are talking about Texas buyers. I promised you last week when we were talking about sellers that I would give you some interesting statistics and tidbits from the Texas Association of Realtors Texas Realtor Magazine, which we realtors receive. And these are some of the more interesting facts that I have culled from here. Let's take a look first of all at who is buying. In Texas, married couples represent 68% of buyers, followed by single females at 15%, which is more than single males at 9%, unmarried couples at 5%, and all other people in different categories at 3%. Now, the percentage of people who purchase homes for a multi-generational household would be 13%. That would be folks that have, for example, parents and children living in the home. And what I have seen a lot of, especially in new construction, is the dual master suite. So a lot of times there will be a master bedroom and bathroom on the first floor and then another one on the second floor for some separation and privacy if you don't want to be right next to your mother-in-law, for example, or even if your own mother. And so they have these double master suites, and usually the main master is going to be bigger than the secondary master in terms of the bedroom, bathroom, and closet size. All right, the number of homes a buyer visited before purchasing, the median number in Texas was 10. That is interesting because that is a reasonable number of homes. You can reasonably look at a few or several homes per day, and so on a couple of outings, or perhaps you only look at one home at a time and you go out a few different times, then you find your dream home. I have had a couple of buyers actually purchase the very first and only home they saw with me that they saw, period. In today's day and age with MLS and the internet, all the photos and information that you can find on there, and also virtual tours in some cases, you can just buy a home, having narrowed it down to the one home that you're going to see in person and see those surroundings. So you can really eliminate a lot of homes by looking online first. And then of course, some people see more than 10 homes, of course, before they purchase. The median purchase price of a home in Texas is $263,500, which Houston is about on par with as well. 11% of buyers paid above asking price, 29% paid full asking price, which means the majority of buyers actually got a home for under asking price. That tells you that sellers do have to be reasonable and realize that buyers are going to be able to negotiate the price down. Now the Houston market, as well as I'm sure many other markets, but I'm an expert only in the Houston market in particular, is very hyper-local. And what I mean by that is that each neighborhood or smaller geographical market area has its own sub-market going on. So while you may say that the overall market in the Houston area is a buyer's market or a seller's market, each neighborhood may differ from that. Also, one neighborhood may be more intensely a buyer's or seller's market at any given time than another neighborhood. You may see multiple offers going on in a certain neighborhood where a home may receive several offers, but in another neighborhood nearby, homes may not receive multiple offers, or it may take a long time for offers to come in. So it's very specific, and we cannot speak for the entire market because it's very specific to that individual property and that individual neighborhood at any given time. All right, what buyers want most from me or other realtors like me? I'm a real estate broker. 4 top reasons or things that buyers want. Let's start with number 4. 6% of buyers want help with paperwork. Fortunately for you, I should say, I'm an expert and I know my contracts inside and out. Not only the basic contract, but the different addenda that a property may need, whether it's new construction or an older property needing a lead-based paint addendum, whether it's in an intracoastal waterway that is prone to flooding, whether it is in wetlands or has other environmental concerns, whatever it may be. There are a lot of different documents that go along with it at the point of sale, when the offer is made, and then also throughout the process going to closing. Okay, number 3, determine what comps are selling for. 8% of buyers want that from us. We realtors have the exclusive access to the MLS data of what properties sold for in the past, because Texas is a state that does not require sellers to disclose what they sold a property for, and also does not require buyers to disclose what they paid for a property. So only realtors have access to that information. In a later episode of this series, I will talk about HAR Platinum, which is something our brokerage pays for in order to give our clients free access to sold data for some properties up to a certain extent, up to a certain period of time. So I'll talk about that later. Meanwhile, number two, what buyers want most is 24% of buyers want us to negotiate the price or terms of a sale. That is a really important job, and there is a true art to negotiation. You have to really be able to feel out both sides. Of course, you know your client side, what your client's telling you, and you have to be able to work with the other agent, or if the other side's unrepresented, work directly with that party to understand where they're coming from and what their motivations are, to be able to effectively negotiate a deal that's going to work out in the best interest of your client. Okay, and the number one thing that buyers want most from us is 49%. So that is almost a majority. That is almost half of buyers just want us to help them find the right home. With the knowledge that we have, that I have in particular, of different neighborhoods and what specifically buyers are looking for, whether they want to be close to certain types of amenities or highways to get them to work. Are there any eyesores in the area that we need to be looking for, like high voltage power lines or a landfill or a sewage treatment plant, that sort of thing. So there's so many different factors involved that I can advise my buyers on. All right, 29% of buyers purchased new homes. So that's almost 1 in 3 buyers in Texas in 2018. I don't remember if I already mentioned, but this is data from 2018, so last year. And in a future video here on my channel, I will talk about pros and cons and the differences of between buying a brand new home versus buying a resale or a used home. All right, a few more points of data. So we're gonna look at 2018 versus 2008, so a 10-year difference. The median age of buyers has gotten older. So in 2008, the median age was 41. Just last year, it went up to 46. Buyers under 35 years old represented 36% in 2008, and then 10 years later, only 25%. So buyers are skewing older. And as you learned last week when I did the video about sellers, the age of sellers is also skewing older, and the amount of time sellers are living in their homes is getting longer. And of course, that means they're getting older while they're living in those homes longer. All right, first-time buyers represented 44% of the buying population in 2008 and 33% last year. So not as many first-time buyers last year. The median home search length of time has gotten longer. So in 2008, 8 weeks is what it took for the average buyer to find their dream home, or maybe not their dream home, but at least a home they want to buy and move into. And it became 10 weeks as of last year. Okay, and finally, the most difficult steps in buying a home. All right, 18% of buyers said understanding the process was the most difficult. It can be complicated. There's a lot of steps involved. It just isn't as easy as what HGTV portrays, where you just look at 3 homes, make an offer, the seller accepts the offer, and boom, you're at closing and you move into a new home. No, there are so many more steps, and I actually will go over those steps in a future video. All right, 22% of buyers said the most difficult step was paperwork, which I touched on a little bit earlier. And finally, most buyers, 51%, said finding the right property was the most difficult. So interestingly enough, that was also the number one thing that buyers wanted help with from realtors, finding the right property. So you would think today with the internet that buyers would just go online, find the right property, and go forward with it, would not need help from a realtor. But obviously, with the survey of buyers in Texas, that is not the case. And folks still need a lot of help, and I am here to help. So if you want to contact me, feel free to send me a message or make a comment. Also with any questions, suggestions, or comments about this video and any ideas for future videos. I thank you for watching and hope you have a great week.